Long-time subscribers may remember that I did a series here on YouTube called Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer several years ago. And it was a series in which I recounted some of the crazy stories of my time working as a nightclub bouncer in London in the early 2000s. And it was a very popular series. A lot of people approached me in terms of turning it into an animated series, turning it into a book, stuff like that. That's how popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer got. So it was very, very popular. Unfortunately, because of YouTube's draconian censorship measures, which they've brought in over the past year or so, it's now no longer possible to produce that kind of content on YouTube without it getting flagged as inappropriate. And that is indeed what happened, because I still had some of the Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer videos on my YouTube channel, but just as private, marked as private, and YouTube immediately flagged all of them once the new system came in. And I didn't want my channel to be blacklisted and have a low score or whatever in the YouTube algorithm, so I just deleted all those videos. And now, if you want to access my Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series, you can sign up with me on Patreon. On Patreon, there is no censorship. I can say whatever I want. No matter how controversial, no matter how crazy the story is, I can give you those Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer episodes over there. And the original series, you may remember, only ran for 5 episodes. The Patreon series is now up to episode 14. So it starts from Confessions 1 and goes all the way to episode 14. And this week I'm actually going to be dropping episode 15 of Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer. And episode 14, by the way, which was the last one I recorded, according to the feedback, according to what my patrons are telling me, it's one of the best episodes yet, if not the best episode. So check me out on Patreon for Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer if you are interested in that particular content. If you want a sample of it, there's a free sample in the description below of one of my Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer episodes. And there's also a free sample of one of my Topical Tuesday podcasts, which I drop every Tuesday on Patreon. And basically, again, it's down to YouTube censorship. If you say anything that is controversial, particularly if it's got anything to do with politics or war or conspiracies or anything like that, YouTube are going to censor you. And in fact, they're even shutting channels down for having certain views these days. You shut down your channel completely. So I'm not able to say what I want on YouTube with regards to, you know, topical discussions and whatever, but I can say it on Patreon. And I do have a lot of controversial views. I do have a lot of views about many things going on in the world which are not mainstream. And so I can express that on Patreon. I'm free to do that over there and completely, you know, be let off the leash. Whereas on YouTube, I have to watch what I say all the time. So if you want to have access to my Topical Tuesday podcast, and it's often a live stream where you get to interact with me and ask me questions, and I answer your questions about whatever topic you want, whether it's conspiracies, geopolitics, race, religion, gender, whatever the case may be. You can ask me directly on my live streams on Patreon on my Topical Tuesday podcast. And on Thursday, I drop Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer. So you get 2 podcasts every single week from me if you sign up with me on Patreon. Exclusive podcasts. And it's very easy to sign up. There's a link in the description below to do that as well. It only costs $3 a month. There's no contract. If you only want to sign up for 1 month, you can do that. You can cancel at any time. $3 a month is the equivalent of about £2 a month. It's less than the cost of a cup of coffee. And for £2 a month, you're getting 8 podcasts from me every single month for just £2, and you can cancel it anytime. And you also get access to my entire back catalogue, because some people have asked me, if I sign up with you, do I get access to all the previous podcasts that you've done, or is it just the podcast from the moment I sign up ongoing? No, you get access to my entire back catalogue and all the new podcasts as well. So check me out on Patreon. Head over there, sign up. Only costs £2 a month. You spend £2 walking to work on a can of Coke and a bag of crisps and you wouldn't even think about it. Whereas for this £2, you get a whole month's worth of content every single month for just £2. You know, 2 podcasts every single week. So yeah, check me out on Patreon. Just an example of some of the recent topics I've covered on my Topical Tuesday podcast. I've talked about the Russia and China situation, you know, Russia being implicated in all kinds of nefarious activity, allegedly, the growing supposed threat of China. I talk about the so-called terrorist events around the world going on. I talk about Jeremy Corbyn, Donald Trump. I talk about gender issues, social engineering, the transgender situation, the proliferation of homosexuality. I talk about the destruction of gender roles. I talk about dating and the issues with dating these days. I talk about the key to a successful relationship, marriages. I talk about all kinds of things on my Topical Tuesday podcast. And again, you have access to all the podcasts I've ever done on Patreon when you sign up, as well as all the future podcasts for just £2 a month. So yeah, anyway, check me out. I'm out.